Jinger Duggar's husband Jeremy talks pressure with in-laws. Hello everyone, my name is Liam. Welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Counting on alum Jinger Duggar recently shared stories about her past with the Duggar family on the Unplanned podcast with Matt and Abby. The 30-year-old mom opened up about the first time she told her parents she was wearing pants, as well as how she and her husband dealt with the show's money. However, Jeremy also caught the attention of many after opening up about the pressures he had with Jim, Bob, and Michelle. One of the biggest revelations from Jinger and Jeremy during the podcast was about their decision not to fight for the show's money. According to the Counting On alums, they decided to let it go as it could only make things worse. It's no secret that Jill is almost shunned by her parents after calling them out for not giving her part in the reality show's income. Jinger also added that she wanted to make her own money without causing any conflict with her parents. But it seems it's not the only issue the married couple faced during their early days together, especially Jeremy. During the podcast, Jeremy opened up about the pressures he experienced with Jim, Bob, and Michelle. According to the Counting On alum, they were bombarded with questions about whether they were expecting when they got home from their honeymoon. It's no secret that having as many children as possible is one of the main goals of the Duggar family. However, he wanted to have a normal timeline for having babies. In the end, Jeremy and Jinger Duggar welcomed two daughters 3 years apart. Jeremy also recalled the time that he had to answer a 50-page questionnaire to prove his worth to Jim, Bob, and Michelle. Some of the questions included if he's in debt and even if he has kissed a woman before. He also faced so much pressure, especially after being converted to the IBLP. He claimed that Jim, Bob made him watch videos about their religion, which is something he didn't grow up with. Jeremy is also making a huge comeback in the sport he loves. In an Instagram post, the Counting On alum revealed that he's coming out of retirement to play soccer one last time. Jeremy is a retired professional soccer player who played as a goalkeeper for most of his career. Many members of the Duggar family also supported his decision, including his wife, Jinger Duggar. If you are looking for more Duggar family news, come back to TV shows Ace for all your updates. Jinger Duggar is more than just an alum from Counting On these days. The TLC star is a famous author who bravely dished a lot of tea, but she seemed to avoid mentioning her brother Josh Duggar's name in a recent interview. So some people wondered why. After all, he was mentioned when she wrote about the show being canceled. This week, Jeremy and his wife joined Matt and Abby on their The Unplanned podcast. She became extremely emotional when she talked about her childhood. Mentioning an unbalanced childhood made her cry. So perhaps her next book will address the extremes of being raised under so many strict rules. Jinger Duggar and Jeremy also mentioned that she finds it difficult to discuss her feelings on the IBLP sometimes. Recall that her mom and dad, Jim, Bob, and Michelle Duggar raised their kids under Bill Gothard's teachings. However, she believes they can still love each other. The Counting On alums also laughed about the questionnaire that Jeremy had to fill in to court his future wife. The podcast isn't all deeply serious and disturbing stuff. At one stage, Matt asked why Jim, Bob, and Michelle chose to name all their children with J's. An OP on Reddit noticed that the former TLC star seemed reluctant to use her brother's name. Jinger Duggar explained that her parents didn't always expect to raise over a dozen kids. The Counting On fan captioned their post with, "Jinger not saying Pest's name. I was listening to Jeremy and Jinger's episode on the Unplanned podcast. Matt asked why the Duggars decided on all J names. Jinger says the oldest was named with a J name, and then next came the twins, Janet and John David. After that, JB and M thought they would only have one more kid and didn't want them to feel left out, hence continuing the J name cycle. Through this entire explanation, she never said Josh. I don't think it necessarily means anything, but also I thought it was interesting." Perhaps Jeremy gave the closest hint about cutting Josh Duggar out of their lives. Some fans discussed that. Others also threw in some ideas. When Jern was talking about how the courtship rules were stupid because if someone needs to be policed into being chaste, they probably should evaluate themselves in the first place, I felt like it was a jab at the pest law. I don't think I'd want to say my abuser's name either. I don't think she thinks of Josh as her brother at all anymore. He's her abuser and an abuser of countless others. People will always know her as one of his victims. If she doesn't want to acknowledge him, that's her right. Hounding on alum Jinger Duggar has been making headlines after participating in the Unplanned podcast with Matt and Abby. The 30-year-old mom talked about her past, including her decision to wear pants and her disentanglement from the IBLP. But aside from her beliefs, Jinger also talked about how she and Jeremy dealt with money issues, especially regarding their income from the show. Keep reading to see her statements. One of the main topics covered by Jinger during the podcast was her decision to wear pants. According to the former Counting On star, she still wore skirts during her early days with Jeremy to honor her parents, especially when she was in front of them. She added that the Duggar family follows a certain Bible verse about modesty. However, she and Jeremy dug through the scriptures and never found any indications forbidding women from wearing pants. Since then, Jinger has begun to wear pants, but she clarified that everyone in the family still cares for and loves her. During Jinger's podcast with Matt and Abby, she opened up about how she and Jeremy deal with the reality show's issues. It's no secret that Jill called out her parents for not giving her share during the show, which ultimately led to her departure. But Jinger and Jeremy dealt with it differently. According to the Counting On alum, they chose not to fight over the reality show's money, even though Jim Bob didn't pay them. We understood there was issues with the money. The show was making a ton of money, but Jinger and I just both determined we're not gonna make this an issue, Jeremy added. Jinger Duggar later chimed in and said that she wanted to make their own money. Jinger and Jeremy also made headlines this week after some people discovered that their California house was listed for sale. The Counting On alums made things more suspicious after uploading a house tour vlog shortly after the speculation surfaced. Due to this, some fans began to assume that the two were relocating. But several Reddit users think they might be relocating as life in Los Angeles continues to become more expensive. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.